way.
Council, ladies and gentlemen, staff, I see that we have quorum, and I call this regular meeting for the town of Pelham for Monday, March 2nd, 2015, to order. We will begin with an invocation led by Councillor Kersey, followed by the singing of the national anthem, and I would ask our clerk to lead that. And I would ask all who are able to rise.
Shall we pray? Lord, to whom much is given, much is expected. Grant that as this council meets to take up the business of the people, they demonstrate wisdom in all their deliberations. May the decisions that are made in this place of government be guided by strength and courage. Be with each council member as they consider each policy, bylaw, and procedure placed before them. Amen.
Amen.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Councillor Kersey. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We don't normally call on you to lead the national anthem, so thank you for doing so in a pinch. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. It's been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley, that the agenda for the March 2nd, 2015 regular meeting of council be adopted. Are there any changes to the agenda? There being none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. The next item is disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof. That is any conflicts of interest. Do any members have any conflicts to declare?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Be so noted, Madam Clerk. Now, we've just approved the agenda, but we're going to add something with the acceptance of council. And the reason we're doing it this way is because I feared that perhaps Mr. Mantle may not attend if we formally put something on our agenda. This is the last council meeting for Al Mantle. He is going to be retiring from the town officially. I think it's Wednesday, is it not?
That is correct.
March 4th. Seems rather excited about that. And it was in March 9th, in 1987, that he started working for the town. And folks here knew that Mr. Mantle started working for the town when they started calling and asking for Mr. Manhole. Once they straightened that out, Mr. Mantle was serving in very many capacities. In March 2012, he became the 21st member of the 25-year club, which speaks to the longevity of not only his service, but the number of staff that we have that have served publicly 25 years. Mr. Mantle served as the acting director of Public Works at least twice, and I think the second time was so long that he was awarded the Best Acting Award. Colleagues made a detailed replica of the Academy Awards statue. He was then awarded the director's role, and some have suggested that he should be sitting in a director's chair, but he prefers that black chair that he has. He became the director because of his dedication, his service, his experience, and his knowledge, and because of his care to the community. He really does have extensive knowledge of every pipe, every manhole, every trail, every sidewalk, and he's often known to lift the lids of the manholes just to see if the system is functioning properly. He's also known for pulling out a pad of paper and a red pen and drawing something for anyone straight from his head because he knows the system all the systems very, very well. He's a bit of a creature of habit. He has a library, we're told, of field books recording precipitation, barometric pressure, road conditions, and I don't even know what's in those books, but there must be other observances in those books. Maybe he's going to come out with a tell-all book later on. And he knows when the timing is for the video inspections. They're done in early fall, and he likes to patch roads and pour sidewalks in the fall and get the street sweeping done immediately after the snow melts, etc. He actually issued a number of tenders for some of the more routine public works initiatives already this year, so that a new director wouldn't have to worry about that. He is very, very funny, but he has a dry type of humor. And I won't get into some of those stories, and we heard many of those at his retirement party back at the end of January. Now, he was supposed to retire on February 1st, but he stayed longer. We did take a little bit longer to find a replacement for him, but it's also because of his commitment to finish a number of projects. We appreciate that dedication. And really, when we think back on your years of service here, you have left a legacy of improving our town and improving the infrastructure. You've left us in great, great shape. So on behalf of council, I appreciate your knowledge, your experience, your service, and I wish you all the best. Wonder if any councillors would like to add to the comments that I've made about Mr. Mannel's service. Councillor Ribiak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to Mr. Mannel. I'm reminded of the day that I took over the property at which I reside in 2003, bought it from my father, and the advice he gave to me, if you need anything from the town, talk to Nancy. But Al Mannel's pretty good too. And it proved to be pretty good advice. Always surprised when dealing with an issue that you'd show up. That was great. Thank you.
Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think probably, Al, what I would really like to tell you is that I have learned so much from you in terms of not stressing about the small stuff. I remember the many Fridays over the construction on Port Robinson Road and the finishing of the Steve Bauer Trail, walking into your office at 8:30 on Friday morning and saying, "Hey, Al, guess what? Your worst nightmare is here." And through all of that, you were always so calm, cool, and collected in dealing with the crazy nonsense that I brought forward. I really appreciated that, and I appreciate the work that you have done for the very many years that you've done it. Thank you. Enjoy your retirement.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're going to be missed, Al. The knowledge that you're taking back to Welland at your residence is valuable stuff here. I just hope that you're willing to, when if any jams come up and we call you, you can act as perhaps a consultant to say, you know, pipe number 12 needs 6 inches of copper or something like that. Your sense of humor will be missed. Again, stressing the patience that you have in reconstruction of the street in front of my house. You got lambasted by a lot of my neighbors, I know, and you actually handled that very well. My neighbors weren't always happy with the answers they got from you. However, they were very happy with the results that came through. We're going to miss you. Enjoy your retirement. You deserve it.
Mayor, through you. Well, Al, you and I have had an interesting relationship. I've been the 1,000-question guy, and for the first year, you were the 1,000-question answerer. And then Al, in his normal, calm manner, learned to ignore me completely. And it's been a great working relationship since that time. But on a serious note, Al, I moved into this community for over 40 years ago, 42 years ago. And the change that has been wrought on this community in a very positive way has to a large extent been attributable to you. I think particularly of our water system. We have the gold standard in Niagara, if not all of Ontario, and that's in large part thanks to you and your direction of your team. So on behalf of myself and I hope the community, I wish to express to you our gratitude and our best wishes for a wonderful, fulfilling retirement. Thank you. All the best.
That to you, Ms. Mayor? All the best to you, Al.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillors, I do have a small token of, we call it an achievement award for retiring, and I'd ask that you might come up here, Al, and accept this.
Sure.
So on behalf of council, thank you very much for your achievements to the community for your public service. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Mr. Mantle?
I'd like to express my gratitude with respect to council allowing me to do what I've been able to do over the last number of years, mostly unimpeded, I guess. I'd also like to defend myself with respect to some comments that were made at my retirement party, where a comment was made with respect to the glacial pace with which I reacted. And I think both yourself, Mr. Mayor, and the CAO both remarked on that. And I'd like to also note that I coined that term with my abilities, but for the most part, it was done to save council from themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Mantle. And so, as mentioned, March 4th is your last day, and we wish you well as you march forth from Pelham and enjoy your retirement. Thanks again. Now we'll move to the regularly scheduled agenda, and we begin with a series of delegations. The first is Lori Kleinsmith regarding the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, everyone. I just would like to acknowledge I have a few members of the network are also with me in the audience tonight. If you want to just raise your hands, member agencies. Barb, you're here for 2 reasons, but that's great. And Habitat for Humanity is also a member of the network. So my name is Lori Kleinsmith. I am a resident of Pelham, and I work at Bridges Community Health Center, which is located in the Port Colborne and Fort Erie communities. And Bridges Community Health Center is a proud member of the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network, and I am here representing the network this evening to provide municipalities. We're doing actually the same presentation in all 12 municipalities, so you're the first ones to hear it. And I will be providing an overview of the network itself, our structure, some of our work to date, and just some ideas of how we can start to strengthen ties with Niagara's municipalities and regional government. Okay. So just to set the tone, I'm sure you are most aware that Niagara is not unique in terms of having poverty and poverty issues. I've provided a few statistics in the presentation just to lay out some examples. So these are from 2013. We had recorded 67,525 shelter bed nights occupied each year in Niagara, and 13% of those are occupied by children. 1 in 3 people who access Niagara's food banks are children. And we have over 11,000 people, over 5,800 households actually, waiting for affordable housing. And large percentage of those are seniors. We also have single adults and couples and families, making up a large percentage of families that are in need. In addition to that, there's a few stats that are unique just to Pelham. We are able to provide that. Knowing that social assistance rates, for example, Ontario Works, Ontario Disability Support, neither of those programs provide people enough income to be above the poverty line, and they actually make up the bulk of the people who are accessing our food banks. In Pelham, we have 67 households that are in receipt of Ontario Works, and 139 households in receipt of Ontario Disability Support. And Pelham has, of the 5,800 or so households waiting for affordable housing, Pelham has 188. So certainly there are households experiencing poverty in Pelham, not necessarily to the same degree as other municipalities in Niagara, but it's here nonetheless. So just a little bit of background on the network itself. We're currently describe ourselves as a group of over 30 social and health agencies, educators, businesses, government representatives, faith communities, and individuals, some with the experience of poverty, some not, who are working together to collectively wipe out poverty in Niagara. That is our slogan, our logo that we're using. We're working to change attitudes about poverty. We're working to dispel myths about stereotypes of people who live in poverty. And we're compelling Niagara citizens to get involved and to take action. Our vision is that no one in Niagara lives in poverty. And that's our long-term vision. We believe that we can get there. So this is our structure. We do have, in the circle, you'll see the term just the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network. We hold monthly meetings, network meetings, and generally have between 30 and 40 representatives from the various agencies and community groups at the meetings. We have support from the region itself. Niagara Region Community Services provides support. We have a convener who works through the Niagara Prosperity Initiative and is funded at the Niagara Community Foundation. We have secretariat support through the Niagara Prosperity Initiative, and that is currently now under the auspice of the United Way of Niagara Falls and Greater Fort Erie. Formerly was with the Business Education Council. And we have a coordinating committee that's made up of a chair, a vice chair, member at large, and the 5 chairs of the various subcommittees. So we have 5 subcommittees that are carrying out an action plan that we've developed. This is all available on our website, which I'll show you in a moment. We have an advocacy committee, which I currently chair, communication, engagement, collaboration, and research and evaluation. And in addition, you'll see off to the side, we have working tables. And these are tables that are looking at some very specific issues around housing, transportation. We have a community garden group. And we have 2 emerging tables that are looking at the area of income security. So one is looking at the idea of a living wage, what that might look like in Niagara. And another one looking at basic income, which is another whole big public policy area that would look at providing everyone with a foundation of a basic income. Ideally to replace the mess that really we have in our social assistance system and to provide that social safety security net that's needed. So it's a big idea. It's not a new idea, but there'll be more work that we're going to be bringing forward on that. As well, the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network liaises with various groups in the community that also tie in with poverty. So we have network or tie-ins with groups like the Coalition to End Violence Against Women, the Social Assistance Reform Network of Niagara, to name a few. So to date, the network really started off in and around 2011. Did a lot of work behind the scenes before we held a public launch in May of 2013. So we spent a number of months gathering information so that we could put together a presentation about what we know about poverty. We have fact sheets. We have an infographic which was circulated in your package. We also have a website that we've launched, wipeoutpoverty.ca, where we have housed a number of our fact sheets and other resources. As well, we're very active on social media. We have a Twitter handle, Wipeout Poverty. We have a Facebook page, which is just the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network, where we've been engaging with the public, trying to get people talking about poverty and looking at poverty in a different way. And so far, it's been successful. Takes a while for your brand to get known, but that's one of the reasons why we're doing these presentations. In addition to getting our background work ready, we are starting to become a go-to with some of the local media. The Faces of Poverty series that's been running in the Tribune and the St. Catharines Standard. We've been quoted in that. We've been interviewed for some of the articles as some subject matter experts. We've been able to provide some people who have that lived experience, that opportunity to have their voice heard in some of the articles. Some of them are actually members of the network. We've also been able to have our chair, Elizabeth Zimmerman, was asked to speak on TVO's The Agenda last fall as a subject matter expert in the province on the topic of poverty. We've participated in the Ontario Poverty Reduction Strategy, which is the new 5-year strategy that came out just a few months ago. And we worked with MPP Jim Bradley to host a consultation in Niagara. Last October, we participated in a cross-Canada campaign called Chew on This, which is a call for a national or a federal anti-poverty plan. And we held 6 different sites across Niagara. We had petitions, had hundreds of people signing up to show and endorse their support for a federal anti-poverty plan. And we're continuing to work with cross-Canada partners to raise awareness of this. Last fall, during the, just leading up to the municipal election, we had the creation of a transportation policy position paper, and we sent out a survey to all those who are running in Niagara for municipal council and regional council, and asking them to kind of gauge their support and where they stand on the idea of a seamless regional transit system. We also sent out, and this was sent in your package again, a document outlining roles that municipal and regional government can play in addressing poverty. I hope many of you recall receiving that. And if you didn't, you've also got it in your packages again for further viewing. But in that package are some ideas. Again, it's thinking beyond just what role the federal government or the provincial government can play, but what role can we do right here in the community that goes beyond charity, that looks at public policy, that looks at what we can do in our communities to truly start tackling poverty. What's within a municipality's role to do that? We already know that Welland, the city of Welland already has a community committee that is in place that advises the city on poverty. St. Catharines is in the process of developing one. So lastly, we know that municipalities do have an important role to play in regional government, of course, as well, being our situation in Niagara. And we know that our councils care about poverty. We've seen that through the investments in the Niagara Prosperity Initiative, the collective voice that Niagara's municipalities and regional government are showing on support for regional transit and for bringing GO to Niagara. It's wonderful to see us working together on those issues. And there's even more that we can do collectively. So we invite you to revisit our document, Creating Shared Prosperity and Leading by Example. And we look forward, as a network, to strengthening ties with all of our municipalities. And we're very pleased to be able to do this presentation tonight and to all of the other municipalities over the next short while. And we encourage you to visit our website and to share it. And I invite any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. Klein-Smith.
You're welcome.
And for the documents that you also provided. Do any members of council have any questions for our presenter? Councillor King.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if you can just answer one little question for me, and that is, you mentioned that there were 188 individuals in Pelham that are looking for affordable housing. Do you have any idea how many of those are seniors?
Well, based on the infographic, we know approximately 37% of seniors across Niagara.
Okay.
are looking for affordable housing. I don't have the specific breakdown for Pelham to know if it's higher or lower than that average, but I would surmise it would be in that same range.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just that, those are just people who've signed up to be on the affordable housing wait list. That does not mean that there aren't more people who just have given up, because we know the wait lists are so long.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Others? Thank you very much for your presentation. We really appreciate it and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
As things progress.
Thanks very much.
Thanks again.
Okay.
I do have a motion. It's been moved by Councilor Ribbiak, seconded by Councilor Durley, that the information presented by Lori Kleinsmith regarding the Niagara Poverty Reduction Network be received for information. Any further comments? Certainly appreciate the work of the network. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks again. And now, our next presentation is from Alistair Davis from Habitat for Humanity Niagara. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors, staff, and guests. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to present to you this evening. I'm Alistair Davis. I'm CEO of Habitat for Humanity Niagara. And also would like to just introduce to you, we have some other guests with us tonight from Habitat. Peter McConnell, who is our board chair, Dave Weeds, who is a member of our board, Frank Whiting, who is past member of our board, and Jody Craw, who is our new Fawnville Restore Manager. I'm going to make my presentation look really good when we get it running. We wanted to start by presenting with a very brief video that does a really good job at explaining what would take me half an hour to do in 3 minutes.
Humanity works in almost 100 countries around the world, but what you may not know is that we also build homes right in your community. Many of us don't realize that 1 in every 8 families are challenged with the decision to pay rent or put food on the table. Habitat for Humanity builds homes and hope for families in need across Canada. We want everyone to have a safe, decent, and affordable place to live, and we firmly believe that home ownership breaks the cycle of poverty. Here's how our program works. First, we identify families in need and prepare them to be successful homeowners. Our hardworking families serve the community in many capacities. Each one just needs a hand up out of the cycle of living from paycheck to paycheck. Next, we partner with the community to acquire land through donations from municipalities, developers, and individuals. As a charity, we rely 100% on the generosity of donors to make our homes possible, including donations of cash and building materials to construct our homes. Once the funds are raised, we strap on our work boots and hard hats and start building. We mobilize volunteers to build homes alongside of our partner families, nail by nail, wall by wall. Habitat volunteers come from all walks of life, but are joined by a passion to serve families. Some have never picked up a tool in their lives. Others are professional tradespeople. There's a place for every individual, community, or faith group and corporate team who wants to build with us. So, how do families actually benefit from our program? Each family must invest 500 hours of their own volunteer time, called sweat equity. Once the family is in their home, they pay an interest-free mortgage, and payments are never more than 30% of their income. This mortgage is why our homes are affordable and have a life-changing impact on families. For example, 78% of Habitat families report better health, 89% say their family life improved, and overwhelmingly, Habitat families report that they are better off financially and happier, and that their children perform better in school. As families pay their mortgage, the payments are reinvested into our revolving fund for humanity. As this fund grows, we use it to build more homes. So, the more families we serve, the more homes we are able to build. Families benefit, and so does the community. In many communities where we work, every donation to our program can go directly to building homes and serving families, because administration and fundraising costs are completely covered by Restores. Restores are retail outlets that accept donations of new and gently used building materials and home improvement items that are sold to the public. The Habitat program is a sustainable investment for today and the future. So pick up a hammer, pick up a phone, or visit our website to invest in our community's most valuable resource, people. Habitat for Humanity, building homes, building hope.
So that really is an overview of how Habitat for Humanity operates in Niagara, across Canada, and basically around the world is that similar platform of approaching the problem of poverty. And I really appreciate the foundation that Lori was able to lay down for me this evening. What a great combination of the two of us presenting back to back. There's certainly, I will echo what she was talking about in terms of poverty is a major issue in Niagara. It's an issue in every municipality. There is no immunity to this problem, really anywhere in Canada. The statistics I have here are about Niagara as a region, but you can see there's a large percentage of our inhabitants are living in poverty. The particularly troubling part is the number of children that are living in poverty and the impact that has on them and their schooling and their ability to move forward in their life. The numbers also in terms of that 1 in 5 families that are in rental situations are paying over half of their gross income into shelter costs. That leaves very little, and that's why you hear about this struggle of, am I going to pay for food today, gasoline for my vehicle, or pay the hydro? Is it they just can't do all three? And the numbers, when I first started doing this presentation 10 years ago, when I started with Habitat, the numbers were around 4,000 families that were officially waiting. Now it's over 6,000. As you can see, that number just keeps growing. As far as the Habitat belief is that we believe that it's a basic human right that everybody in Canada, everybody in the world, should have a safe, decent, and stable place to call home. And the work we've done over the last 21 years has involved us building in Fort Erie, in Welland, Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, Thorold, Port Colborne, and Grimsby. So you can see our work is far from being completed. Right now we're active building a house number 43 in Welland, and that house should be completed in the next couple of months, and another happy family will move into a home. Some of the stats we have, because I wondered before I joined Habitat, how can I really be sure that all the things can happen to help transform families? So we did a survey with Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, and we got back sort of these kinds of numbers. And this isn't just about how many families deserve. This is much more sort of qualitative. Improved health, improved children's confidence in school. Families reporting that their family life is much more healthier and conducive to learning and succeeding. And also the data is indicating to us that the parents are getting further education, they're getting better jobs, they're maybe getting their jobs that are moving into being professional positions, and maybe moving from being part-time to full-time positions. So it's really having the kind of impact that we hoped would occur. Pictures say a lot. This is the day this family of 3 moved into their new home in St. Catharines a couple years ago. And so our symbol, this is the key to a better life, is owning your own home. That's a typical build celebration. We built the deck on that home on a Saturday, and that's just lots of cheering and building high quality homes. Everything we do is to the very best quality and very, very highest standards we can create, because we want the home to be affordable so the family can operate it and live in it, and the utility costs are as low as possible. So the homes are built to very high efficiency and green standards. That's an example of one of the homes that we completed last year. Fits into the community very nicely. About 1,100 square feet, 3 or 4 bedroom depending on the family's needs. We build the raised bungalows so that you can easily add more rooms in the lower level. This is our magic little formula. Starting on the left, you need land. And without land, it's pretty hard to get one of these projects going. You need the handshake in terms of the partnership with the business, community, government at various levels, and many other groups. Of course, the bank book is there because we do need some cash to build a home. The families, there's plenty of families, and at the very end of it, moving a family into a green, efficient, healthy home. As to what our capacity is, it's more than the numbers that are up there. So we have to increase our build rate. We've been doing 3 or 4 homes a year. This year we're doing 7. And in terms of the impact that has not only on 7 families locally, but also with every home we are building here, with the arrangement we have with the federal government, that's being matched. So we double the number of homes that we are sponsoring internationally. So for every home we build here, we are sponsoring 8 builds in Haiti. So with 8 builds this year, or 7 builds this year, we'll help 56 families have a home in Haiti, and 7 here has 63 families. So we think that's having a greater impact, and we want to increase on that in the future. You usually get asked this question, well, what does it cost to do a Habitat house? Amazingly, with a lot of partners, we typically can be in about the $85,000 price range to be able to build a home, plus the land acquisition. Sometimes we have land donated to us. It varies as to the price. Sometimes we buy land with a combination of money and tax receipts. But say the cost of producing the home is a reasonable looking number, but it still takes quite a bit of work in terms of raising those funds. And of course, in red is those assumptions are based on city and region waiving fees. I just happened to mention that. So what are the benefits of having a restore? There's a reason why I have this slide up here. But the reason for some of the benefits to you and throughout Niagara is that it generates funds to help us build homes. And it diverts 1.5 million to likely 2 million this year pounds of a product that likely was going to find its way into landfill. We are a place for new and gently used home products, overstock, product returns, salvage from large institutions, hospitals, etc., and from your home that we sell at the restore. The benefits of having it is that if you have a kitchen you're getting replaced, we're a solution. We'll come and very gently, carefully take it out of your home and take it to our store, sell it. It doesn't go into landfill, and you get a tax receipt for what we sold it for. We're open to the public. It's sort of one of those myths about Habitat, thinking that, you know, the restore is only available to people that are in the home building industry or maybe to people living in poverty. It's open to everybody. And one of the great discounts to it is you'll never know what we have in the place when you come to check it out. And we have deep discount prices, and you can sort of find these oddball things that are hard to find elsewhere. The other great thing about a restore is that we train various people, all kinds of people. We take co-op placements from high schools and college. We issue the tax receipt for items that are donated over $100. And it is a great volunteer opportunity for people of all ages and skills. In fact, if you don't think you have any skills, we have all kinds of roles for people, whether it be in a restore or at our build site. And as a charity, there's no HST. So if you haven't been shopping at the restore, you likely will be now, I hope. Here's some idea of the kind of product that we take as donations. You know, it's just some of the ones I guess that we particularly like to receive, but we have quite an array of product that we receive and sell. And as mentioned in in the whiteboard video, the restore, the revenue of the current store provides enough revenue to cover all of our administration costs. So if every one of you gave me a loonie tonight, that entire dollar tomorrow gets deposited into our build account. There's no administration fees taken off of it. What is a restore? See, my skills as CEO are what you expect. Don't try that technology, Alistair.
Me either. Okay.
Davis, we usually allow 10 minutes for presentations, and you're a little bit over that, and I just wondered if you could wrap up over the
I
next
am.
minute or
Thank
so.
you.
Thank you.
The Restore, the reason I'm talking so much about it is that we are about a month away from opening a Restore at 2499 Highway 20 east of here, former location of Beatty's. And we'll be operating there in about a month, and hope that you get a chance to share this information and can become regular users, use it often, and have a great deal of fun in coming to get a chance to see the place and inviting volunteers. Thank you.
Just remind us again the date that you're open. Do you have that date?
It's likely going to be in about a month. We haven't firmed up the date exactly, but late March, early April.
If you can make sure that you share that with us, and I'll spread that to council. Do councilors have any questions for our presenter? Presenters? Thank you very much for the presentation, for giving us lots to think about as development continues to occur in Pelham, and I know it's something that we've chatted about aside from this. So thank you very much for the presentation and for the great work of the Habitat for Humanity in Niagara. And we look forward to the opening of the store, and let us know when that occurs. Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Of course, we're very delighted to have our store manager be from Font Hill.
Thank you. We noted that in the presentation as well. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor Ribbiak, that the information presented by Alistair Davis regarding Habitat for Humanity be received for information. Any further comments? There being none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks again for your presentation and for your work. Now we move to our next presentation, delegation by Barb Vander Heeden and Ryan Bissonnette, representing Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Niagara. No cowboy hat, Mr. Bissonnette?
I didn't get the memo.
That's not what I remember.
No, she tried to beg me to do cowboy hat, but
Uh-oh.
I'm here to ask you to support the
We're not ready for that yet.
All right.
Thank you for stopping that.
I thought it would sit on our logo first. Good evening, Mayor, Augustine, and councillors, or should I say, howdy. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to address you this evening. I'm Barb Vander Heeden, Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Niagara, and Ryan Bissonnette is a board member of our agency. Unlocking a child's true potential through mentoring creates a future where anything's possible. A 2013 study completed by the Boston Consulting Group resulted in the following results. Every dollar invested in Big Brothers Big Sisters mentoring programs generates $18 ROI, or social return on investment. Some situations are even as high as $23 ROI. According to their study, when it comes to hard dollars returned, few investments equal a donation to Big Brothers Big Sisters. The study also found that over their working lives, former Littles will earn on average $315,000 more than those in the control group. Though there have been some challenges in running school-based programs this year in the Pelham area due to staff challenges and changes, as well as school renovations, Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Niagara is still able to provide free programming for 50 children this year. Plus, new to your community for this year will be, through a generous grant from the 2014 Pelham Mayor's Gala, is an after-school program which will be offered at AK Wake. To better help you understand the costs to offering these programs we provide, every traditional one-to-one match costs approximately $1,000 a year, and each group program about $450 per participant. Ryan and I are excited to be here to remind council and residents of the town of Pelham about our annual Bowl for Kids' Sake event, which is almost upon us, starting with our main event this Saturday, March the 7th at Bowlerama, Niagara Street, Welland, then moving Sunday, March 8th to Carol's Bowling Lanes in Fort Erie, with a wrap-up the following Saturday. This is our major annual fundraiser, and we are here to ask for your support. This year's theme is Country and Western, as you may have guessed. So you are encouraged to dig out your cowboy boots and hats, jeans, plaid shirts, and join us. March 7th will be an exciting day as it will be our formal kickoff with a trailer of animals including a miniature horse, pony, a full-size horse, bunnies, and a pot-bellied pig present for the children and adults to see, thanks to B&R Stables. A new community radio station, Country 89.1 FM, will also be on site for part of the day to help with the celebrations. There is also a Mayor's Challenge again this year. Will Fort Erie Mary Reddycop claim the trophy for the third year in a row, or will Mayor Augustine and Council rally together to take this home? This is the trophy. At this point, I would like Ryan to take over.
Thanks, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for having us. I just wanted to speak briefly on behalf of the board, and first and foremost, I wanted to thank the town. By far in this region, the 5 communities that we service, this municipality is leading the pack in terms of the involvement with our agency. From council support of the fundraising initiatives that we have. First and foremost, Peter Papp is our current president. As most of you are probably aware, his involvement has been tremendous over the last couple of years. Councillor King has very graciously hosted and been the chairperson of our Sisterhood of Style event, which is an event held in the fall that is geared towards raising money for programs that are helping adolescent girls within the program. She did a very successful job in an election year last year, and we're very thankful that she has agreed to come back and help us again this year. On a personal note, I want to thank you because the thought of me having to host a women's fundraising event that's a fashion show was starting to scare me. So the fact that you stepped up, thank you very much. And then there's the staff. This year in particular, Darren and Carrie and the team here have led us in a strategic planning session that has been second to none. And there was also Jordan and Nancy and Kim from the staff that assisted us with those sessions, helping us come up with a strategic plan. A huge thank you, because our board would not have been able to do that without your guidance and your leadership, and we thank you very much for that. Even though Barb told me today that the #1 recommendation was to get rid of me from the board, nobody else would come tonight, so they're going to do that after tonight's presentation. So anyways, you guys are a tremendous, tremendous help in terms of getting involved with what we're doing. The challenge we have now is, like many other organizations, the United Way is our primary funder, and the United Way funding has had its own challenges in recent years. We have to make that up through fundraising initiatives. As I mentioned, we have 4 major fundraising initiatives. We have a trivia night that's passed. It was in January. We had support from, again, the town and the council and staff. Mayor Augustine was there. Councillor King, Councillor Papp, and Carrie Pupo. There was accusations that Councillor King and Carrie Pupo wore out the batteries on their cell phone from treating, but they finished tied second for last, so it really wasn't a concern. So moving on, our most recent fundraising event is Bowl for Kids' Sake. It happens this week in Welland at Bowlorama. We are very hopeful that we can get some support from not only the group in this room, but from the community leaders that the people in this room know. This is kind of the message that I'm hoping to deliver tonight, is that not only do we need the support of the people here, which has been tremendous, we also are hoping that you can leverage off the relationships in the community and help get new people out to these fundraising events and help promote not only our involvement in the region, but our involvement in the town of Pelham. So I think by and large, that's the message that I'm trying to get over. We hope to see people there on Saturday. I know the 2 o'clock time slot, we have Port Colborne and the city of Welland. Jim LaRouche has extended a personal challenge to this group to try to get as many of you out as possible. It's a fun day. Port Colborne and John Baloney will be there and his team, so we hope to see as many people. The good folks at Durwood Jones, Barkwell and Company, including myself, will be there as well. So that's it should be a fun afternoon. I don't think I'm missing anything. Barb, did I do okay?
You did wonderful.
Barb gets nervous when I have to speak. She always thinks we're going to get sued for something, but I think I did okay.
I think the only thing we should mention is recognize Nancy, because she was our honorary chair of Sisterhood of Style this year, and definitely a wonderful example of what a young woman should aspire to be. So thank you, Nancy, as well to you. So without any further ado, we'd like to close with this small clip that I accidentally started at the beginning. Hope I can.
You don't have to play it. We don't have time for you to play it.
Fast forward, don't worry. It's not gonna. Okay, so we're not doing it with
Perfect.
volume.
Well, howdy, I'm Mayor Dave Augustine from the town of Pelham, and I'm here to ask you to support the Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for Kids' Sake. It's sponsored by Tim Hortons, and it's a lot of fun. This year, the theme is Country and Western. That's why I'm wearing the Country and Western hat. But I think you should support it because Big Brothers Big Sisters really changes the lives of young people in our community. It gives them hope. It rebuilds their lives, and it gives them that loving parent-type person to help them through everyday challenges. So I hope to see you there at Bowl for Kids' Sake on March 7th. Howdy, I'll see you then. And I think that's our presentation. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Ms. Vanderheyden and
Thank you.
Mr. Bissonnette for your presentation. I know, Councillor King, you're putting together a team. I forget the name of the team. Maybe you can go ahead, Councillor.
Bet, it's called King's Kickers.
King's Kickers.
King's Kickers.
I knew the king part. I couldn't remember the kicker part. So
Yeah, so we have a sign-up sheet for town staff, and I challenge other councillors to be a part of that team. There, of course, is room for another team or two or three or four. And tomorrow, I will be actively trying to recruit other members for our team besides Mayor Dave. So Jim LaRouche should get ready.
Well, you know what, Councillor King, I appreciate that, and I wish you more success than you had at trivia night. So.
Why, I can't bring myself home?
I'll
On
be
that note,
practicing at home with the Wii. Any questions for our presenters? Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much.
presentation. We look forward to that event coming up this week, and best wishes to you as you put that together. It's been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley, that the information presented by Barb Vanderheyden and Ryan Bissonnette regarding Big Brothers Big Sisters programs and events be received for information. Any other comments or questions? Other than I do want to extend also thanks to the CAO and members of staff for helping out Big Brothers Big Sisters. Obviously has made a huge impact on them, so thank you for that. Going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks again for your presentations, all. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a report from Regional Councillor Beatty. I spoke to Councillor Beatty this evening. He couldn't, or earlier today, he couldn't make it this evening, so he will be giving us a complete report at our next meeting on the 16th. So now let's move to minutes. It's been moved by Councillor Rubiak, second by Councillor Durley. The following minutes be adopted as printed, circulated, and read. Minutes of the regular meeting of Council of February 17th and of our special meeting of Council on February 23rd. Any errors or omissions in those minutes? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Was the challenge map in those minutes as well?
Yes, but it's part of the minutes.
Okay, thank you. So as part of that was the challenge map from the February 23rd special council meeting. So thank you. This one here. Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, if you could just enlighten council, there are some amendments, is that correct?
Through Mr. Mayor, the amendments have been presented as directed for the policy and for the terms of reference, and we'll just have a motion to approve those as amended.
Okay, thank you. So it's been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor Ribiak, be it resolved that policy S201-18, council appointments to boards, committees, and commissions be approved, and that the terms of reference for the Architectural Design Advisory Committee, the Pelham Active Transportation Committee, and the Summerfest Committee be and are hereby approved. Comments, questions? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for your assistance on that. Now we move to consent agenda items to be considered in block. Before I read the page and a half, are there any items that members would like to lift for separate consideration, i.e. separate action? There being none, it's been moved by Councillor Kersey, second by Councillor Duncan, that the following consent agenda items be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved as applicable. 1, recommendations from the Policy and Priorities Committee of February 17th, 2015, along with the minutes of that meeting as number 2. 3, staff reports of a routine nature for information or action, information regarding the payroll clerk annual work responsibilities, and the motion is the council receive the payroll clerk annual work responsibilities issue sheet for information. 4, we have 2 items from action correspondence of a routine nature. The first from the Ontario Good Roads Association, Long-Term Service Award, and the recommendation is that the correspondence from the Ontario Good Roads Association advising of the Long-Term Service Award recently presented to Alan Mannell be received for information. Congratulations and thank you again, Mr. Mannell. That was presented at the recent conference, I believe.
It was.
Thank you. There's also an item of correspondence here from P&H Grady regarding Community Center and Church Street at Canberra Road. And the recommendation is that the correspondence from P&H Grady regarding a community center and Church Street at Canberra Road be received, and that the correspondence be referred to Public Works staff for review and report regarding Church Street and Canberra Road intersection. Then we have items of information correspondence items. There are 3. The first is J.K. Jupian, recommendations for the heritage conservation of the Ridgeville Cenotaph, and J and D Zelstra regarding the community center, and also a letter from the Human Rights Commission regarding their work. And finally, the minutes, committee minutes for information. There's one, it's the Architectural Design Advisory Committee minutes of January 23rd. Before I turn it over to council, I did note that the CAO wanted to make comment just very quickly on the payroll clerk annual work responsibilities report. Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just in addition to that report, I'd like to inform council that there will be some supplementary information coming forward once we've had a chance to put it together, and that is in the context of the role of the payroll clerk and the HR director. Because the HR director role is new, we are looking at efficiencies, best practices, those things. So we will be coming with a little bit of an update, and we'll be sure to circulate that to all of council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. CAO. Now to that and or other items? On any of the other items? Okay, are we ready for calling the question? I do want to acknowledge the letter from Mr. Jupian, which I think may also come into play as we deal with the matter of the Ridgeville Cenotaph project update. Certainly appreciate his insights because of his expertise on that, so I wanted to mention that. So there being no other comments or questions, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Now we move on to the agenda to my report. Sorry, I'm going to take a second to find it. Members of council. There's a couple of items. It's an honor and privilege to report on some significant activities since our last council meeting. Of special note, 2 openings, one in the community, Doulaban Insurance Brokers, grand opening. Congratulations to the Doulabans, Tom, Jason, and Adam, and their staff for opening up a new facility there at Regional Road 20 in Uptown Font Hill. It's a wonderful office, and they've consolidated a number of 3, I think, regional offices to that location. So congratulations to them. The second was mentioned earlier about a new country FM station. Country seemed to be the theme. I was there as well, talking up country, and actually looking forward to Summerfest. I hearkened back to Summerfest when we did some toe tapping in downtown Font Hill, and I hope that that perhaps maybe they can participate in that if there's a decision that we go ahead with some country music in Summerfest. I also had the honor of attending the Niagara Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. That was on the 20th of February. This was the 21st Annual Awards, and it was held in Niagara Falls. There was a number of nominees and or winners with, I'll say, a Pelham connection. So congratulations to them all. First, Ted and Eb Fox of ES Fox, and they received posthumously the 2014 Historical Hall of Fame Award. Mark Georgieff and Dr. Pat Madalena, Accelerated Health and Wellness, they were nominated for the 2014 Emerging Entrepreneur Award. Darlene Harpwood of Ms. Dar School of Dance received an award nomination. Bill Buchanan, Buchanan's Expert Tree Care, also received a nomination for the 2014 Technological Innovation. And Dennis Paris, who's a Pelham resident and owns a company called Specialty Handling, received the 2014 Lifetime Achievement Award, really working together with economic development at Niagara Region and leading that and being involved in that for a number of years because of that achievement. So congratulations to each of those nominees and winners. The arches were pink on the 25th of February to mark Pink Shirt Day, and thank you to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council for encouraging that. That is to discourage bullying, and it was a pleasure to participate in that day. And as well, last week, the mayors of South Niagara made a presentation to the Chambers of Commerce. Thank you to those chambers of South Niagara for hosting that annual luncheon with 6 of the 12 mayors in Niagara. Our theme was economic development, and my 4 or 5 minutes I spoke about the imminent development in the East Fawn Hill area along with our economic development initiatives. That is my report. And it has been moved by, I need a mover, moved by Councillor Junkin, sorry, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak, that Council receive Mayor Augustyn's report of March 2nd, 2015 for information. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we move to staff reports requiring action. The first has been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak. The Council receive the hotel feasibility study report for information, and the Council accept the proposal for services submitted by PKF Hospitality and Tourism Business Advisors to conduct a hotel feasibility study at an amount not to exceed $20,352. Comments, questions regarding the report? Councillor Ribbiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to mention briefly why I will be supporting this motion. The argument was made, and I heard it from a number of sources, that in fact hotels ought to be paying for their own feasibility studies if they have an interest in coming to Pelham. I think, though, that one of the important elements that we need to keep in mind is that in fact the land we're talking about belongs to the town. The argument that has been made by the CAO that in order for us to achieve the best price we can for our land, it may be necessary for finding ways of marketing it appropriately. I know we are interested in having a hotel in that particular location, so I think that it is in fact appropriate that we support a feasibility study with regard to a hotel.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor. Other councillors? Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too will be supporting this initiative. I feel that the town is wearing, unfortunately or fortunately, 2 hats. We have this valuable asset of land in East Fawn Hill, and I think it's in our best interest for our community to do whatever we can to enhance value there. And undertaking this study, I think, will enhance value. It becomes a value added to the inherent value of the land in and of itself. And along that thinking, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose an amendment to the motion that is before us here. And I'd like to add that the cost of this study is to be added to the cost of the land and will be borne by the purchaser of the land as a value-added asset.
Thank you. Is there you want to speak to that, and then we'll see if there's a seconder?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a standard practice in the industry where a developer who has raw land is undertaking the development of that land. He will be directed by the community and by his own initiative to undertake studies to see what is the best fit for that land, what is the most appropriate zoning, et cetera, et cetera. And after he undertakes those studies, he will in fact recover the cost of those studies through the sale of the land. So we have a value attributed to that land based on its mixed use, by becoming a little bit more specific in the direction that we're going to take that land by undertaking this hotel study. I think we are adding value to it, and I see it appropriate that the end user of that land would be reimbursing the community for the cost of that land. So that's why I put that forward.
All right,
Mr. Mayor.
thank you very much. Is there a seconder for the amendment?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Ribbiak. So the amendment is, and I just want to make sure that we have it correct. Madam Clerk, can you read that out, please?
Yes, moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak, that the cost of this study is to be added to the cost of the land and will be borne by the purchaser of the land as a value-added asset.
Okay, thank you. To the amendment now, Councilor Junkin.
I will not be voting for the amendment or the motion. I believe that Pelham Town does have a marketing department, and I believe that if we gave them the mandate to put together whatever figures or what a booklet deciding or describing where the town is and where we're headed and the benefits of a hotel, I'm sure that if they put something like that together, it would be just as impressive and as meaningful as a $20,000 survey by an outside group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor. Others to the amendment? Councilor Durley, I'm sorry, I did also have you on the main motion, but go ahead,
Okay,
Councilor.
yeah, just wondering on the amendment, this could be added as an asking price, but again, the price is negotiable on that, so I'm wondering if a motion like this is really necessary, because there's gonna be no set, either give us this money or you're not gonna buy the property. It becomes a negotiation piece in that, so I think maybe best to leave that as a bargaining chip, really, for somebody to come in and bid for the property. So I'm not sure that I can really support putting a hard number on that particular thing, because obviously the price could vary depending upon how the offers come in. So just my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Any others? I guess I have a question for staff. It was discussed at our last special council meeting about the idea of development charges to pay for the costs of the study. And I don't think council had an answer to that. Mr. CAO, do you have an answer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The hotel feasibility study in this instance would not be eligible for DC charges. Commercial studies of any nature are only eligible for DC if it is in fact a requirement of an official plan or a secondary plan.
Okay, thank you. Any others to the amendment? I would just say that as I understand the amendment, the intention is that to really signal to the community that the costs of this study, if this amendment gets approved, would be borne out of the sale costs. It could be negotiated, but it would be added to those sale costs, and that's the intent. And it's to Councillor Kersey's comment of the two hats that we're wearing, that with this amendment, it's quite clear that it's on the development side, the developer hat the town's wearing. I think it makes sense that those costs be bore not by the tax levy or the taxpayer, but rather by the sale of land. And that's how I understand the amendment, and I'm going to be supporting it as well. And I would wonder if there's any other comments from any councillors. So are we ready for calling the question on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? Thank you. The amendment carries. And now to the main motion as amended. Councillor Durley, do you have any other comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The total East Fawn Hill package required numerous studies, commercial needs studies, along with a lot of other things. So I think that in concert with that, to include a feasibility study, if in fact the hotel is a feasible option, that is a value-added thing, and I think that will come through in the process. And looking at the intent of the amendment, it makes sense, and I will be supporting it because, in fact, to me, that puts a premium on a particular piece of that property, which we are owners of, and that certainly will be a bargaining chip when we do go into negotiations. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors to the main motion as amended? There being none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion as amended is carried. Thank you. The next item has been moved by Councillor Junkin, seconded by Councillor Durley. The council receive the Ridgeville Cenotaph Project Update Report, and the council accept the work plan as presented for the restoration of the Ridgeville Cenotaph. I want to thank Ms. Van Ravensway for putting together this report, and members of the community, some of whom are here this evening working on this. Certainly lots of work has been done, meeting of the minds, as was said, and certainly we appreciate all of the different positions that have come forward. Ms. Van Ravensway, this is really a work in progress. Can you comment in terms of the timing I know that was a concern at council prior to this, Ms. Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. We're hoping that tomorrow, actually, if things go well tonight, we'll be sending out the RFP for the project.
Okay, thank you. I did, counsel, by way of information, I was at the Legion yesterday and I spoke to Mr. Allison about this, indicated that the community wanted to look at this possibly differently, and he was very, very pleased with the involvement and said that from his perspective that as long as it's honoring the idea of the cenotaph and the wishes of the community, that he was fully supportive of it. I think that was a good sign as well. So we would certainly keep him fully appraised of activities as we move forward on it. Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Durley, then Councillor Ribbiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did attend as an observer the workshop that was held last week, and everybody is on the same page, and it's nice to see that the cooperation is there, and I think that we're going to come up with the best possible solution that will be sustainable, feasible, and will provide just exactly the needs of what's there. So I'm encouraged that everybody is coming together, and the project will be a true success.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Ribbiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My understanding of this motion is that we are going to approve proceeding with the restoration of the cenotaph itself, but that we are going to receive a report with regard to the trench mortar subsequently, and we'll have an opportunity to deal with it then. And I want that clarification because, in fact, I will have some comments to make with regard to the disposition of the trench mortar, and I'm just wanting to be sure that I will have a moment sometime in the future when we're dealing with that one separately to make those comments.
Ms. Van Ravensway, is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that is correct. It is two separate things. We will be going out for the RFP on the cenotaph immediately, and the trench mortar, we are working with the Canadian War Museum and determining the best way to restore it or process. It will be coming back to council.
Thank you very much, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to hear that. I don't know what the presentation is going to be or what the motion will be at that time, but I will probably be suggesting an amendment to it at that time. But I'll wait until that happens, and we'll talk about it then.
Okay, we'll see what that looks like, and we'll see what your amendment looks like. So thank you very much, Councillor. Yes. Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I note that in the report, the Legion was in agreement with the amended or the altered restoration plan. If a registered foundation were established to provide continual and ongoing maintenance, I wonder if we could get an update on where we sit on that, and are we being premature going out for the RFP if we don't have a registered foundation in that? That seems to be a proviso of the Legion.
Thank you. Who can answer that? Ms. Van Ravensway or, sorry, Mr.
I'll turn that over to the
We're pointing all around.
Madam
Treasurer.
We did investigate the possibility of opening up a registered foundation. It is a considerable amount of work, and it also is a considerable amount of time spent on having a board and them determining how the funds would be spent and so forth. What we can do as a town is we can have a registered or a restricted donation. It's kind of like our Bradshaw Park donation, where it's only used for intended purposes designed by the donation itself.
and it sits in a separate bank account, and it's not touched unless it's approved to move forward with specifics, repairs to cenotaphs or whatever. And that Bradshaw Park donation was written that way, and it doesn't matter if council changes hands, there's no council that can change or alter a restricted donation, and it's the most effective way to do it, and it causes the least amount of work.
Okay, thank you. Mr. CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to build on the treasurer's comments, the reason that this is going for a request for proposals and not tender is because of that very point. We don't know how much that work is going to cost. The Legion also indicated that they wanted an indication of, okay, you know, you fix the lettering today, if 5 more letters follow tomorrow, what happens then? So we'll have the call for proposals to get a feeling for what it would cost to do that type of assessment, and then have the interested stakeholders involved in that process so that everyone has a level of comfort moving forward, and that we have an accurate idea of what a budget would look like for the donation funds to ensure that there's the appropriate amount of funding for the long term to maintain the cenotaph.
Okay, thank you. Councillor?
Thank you. That's a perfect answer.
Okay,
Thank you very much. You're in the line of Mr. Mannell now.
Just, I see you, Councillor Junkin. Just to comment on the establishment of a separate foundation. I do know from working with establishing the Pelham Community Fund that the Community Foundation of Niagara does have that capacity, although it is a $25,000 minimum. And there is a separate group that oversees it, et cetera. So that might be something that we can keep in mind, and it's probably something that you already investigated as well. So thank you for that. Councillor Junkin.
I was at that meeting on that Thursday night, and I was under the impression that the memorial at the Peace Park is already on a foundation, or has a foundation with it, and and the motion I thought was put forward that we put all 3 monuments in Pelham under the same foundation. Is that not correct?
Who can answer that? Ms. Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that was that the foundation or the fund, whatever it ends up being, that everyone agrees with,
Yes.
will look after all cenotaphs in the town of Pelham,
Okay.
not just this particular one.
Yes.
And that was brought up by the Legion.
Okay, but I thought that the one at the Peace Park is already set up under a foundation?
No.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, okay.
We may have, sorry, through you, Mr.
Go ahead.
We may have been speaking about the foundations.
No,
At that time?
No, I thought Jake mentioned that the Peace Park was already set up under a foundation,
No.
and that we could put the other 2 under that one. But you don't, okay.
Maybe it's something that
I may have
staff can
misunderstood.
investigate as well and clarify. I do know that the Poppy Fund, which is a separate fund, similar to what the treasurer spoke about, a restricted fund,
Yep.
is one that the Legion has, and maybe that was also hinted at that meeting. I was not able to attend, so
Yep.
thank you for attending. Any other comments or questions, Councillor?
No.
Junkin? Others? Okay, thank you. So I will call the question that we receive the report and that council accept the work plan as presented for the restoration of the Ridgeville Cenotaph. I do want to acknowledge and thank those that are, some of whom are here this evening, some of whom are not, but they are listed in the report. Members of the Royal Canadian Legion, interested individuals from the community who are working on this. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried, and we look forward to the results of that expression of interest and also the results of additional items that we asked about. We're now at the point where we do have an in-camera item later on in the agenda, but as what we normally do, before we do that in-camera item, that we recess council. So it has been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Junkin, that council recess the in-camera portion of the meeting and reconvene immediately following committee of the whole meeting scheduled for later this evening. I'm going to call a question on that. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. This meeting is recessed. Let's take a brief 3-minute break before we start committee. Thank you.
No internet signal in here.